When it comes to strategy games, one of the series I hold the most nostalgia for is Sid Meier's Civilization series. I remember playing both the first and second games on my parents' computers as a kid, and even the third game as a teenager, said third game I have on my Steam profile, not having gotten my own Civ game to own until Civilization Revolution on DS.
I'll get to this one later.
But unfortunately, I did miss the fourth and fifth installments. On the simple matter of me not being hardcore into PC gaming, minus what you see on this intrepid channel. However, I would play a new Civ game when it was announced that a Nintendo Switch version of Civilization 6 would release in 2018, 2 years after its original PC release in 2016, with an Xbox One and PS4 version releasing in 2019. After consoles missing ports of Civilization games since Civ 3, not including console-centric Revolution games, how does Civ's returns to consoles fare? Let's find out. The gameplay of Civilization 6 is a turn-based strategy game where you must lead a civilization of your choice, choosing to manage your resources through various eras of time and rule the world either through peaceful methods such as culture and technology, or flat-out warfare, taking over rival cities. But no matter your goals, you gotta do a little diplomacy with rival civilizations and decide later on how to deal with them. Peacefully or war, nothing more, nothing less. But for me, coming into Civ after missing a few games, some new mechanics have been added, or more precisely, new to me. While I won't cover them all, here are a few I've noticed. For one, when you build cities, no longer are they stuck into the main city tile. And instead, any improvements you build, such as buildings, farms, and even wonders of the world, are now separated by districts. While seemingly more limited, you can expand your borders for more room via having enough gold or after a certain amount of time. Secondly, religion also plays a bigger role than games past. For me, that was Civ 3. Once you've founded your religion, depending on how you set it, you can either build certain buildings to correspond with it and or produce units to convert other cities, be it in your own or rival countries occupied by other civs, at the risk of pissing your neighbors off. Third, we have the city-states. These are always going to be AI controlled, and we can seize them like anybody else we are at war with. Or for more risk and reward, we can become the suzerain of said city-states, installing enough envoys. Here, besides some points centric to said city-states, being the suzerain, they can help you explore the map and fight side by side during war. But to end this list of new mechanics, I shouldn't forget the two main expansions, Rise and Fall and Gathering Storm. Rise and Fall introduces eras where, depending on how you perform your goals, you can end a certain time frame with either a golden age or a dark age. And Gathering Storm introduces into Civilization 6 national disasters. Not only does volcanism return from the Civ 3 expansion conquests, you get a bunch more, including floods, droughts, various storms, and with Apocalypse mode, freaking meteors hitting the Earth. But no matter what's been added or changed, whether you play it via the scenario campaigns or just in a standard game with a selection of map types, it's still the Civilization I recognized playing growing up. And being a port of the PC version adds the complexity. As I played this on console and not PC, I should probably mention the quality of them. Universally, the game plays pretty damn well with a controller. Hell, on the Switch version, you can play with the touchscreen, which is a little sensitive at times, but when it works, it works. Sadly, what put me off is how it was fit on TV screens. Unfortunately, when important information like your gold and resources are blocked from plain sight and you can only see a few of them when you're talking with world leaders on trade, that's a big problem. Especially on Xbox One, where you have no choice but to use a TV. However, on the Switch version, where on one screen I could read most of the needed info, you get past that by playing handheld mode. And yeah, you see everything important and not just the map. Not sure what happened here, as it's basic stuff any strategy player needs to know, but yikes. In addition, I've also had a few crashes back to console menus, but nothing that drives me too up the wall. At least not when playing single-player content. Anyway, past all that, I want to talk about the visuals, which do a pretty damn fine job for a strategy game that covers one big globe. Even the combat among units is pretty cool to watch, even with bloodless violence. Extra remarks to the sound, and clearly a lot of work was put in for immersion. You got at least one big name in acting, Sean Bean being one of the narrators, and with a bit of poetry, read some J.R.R. Tolkien too.
Not all who wander are lost.
But besides that, you have a huge multicultural cast to voice the other world leaders, and in not only their native languages, languages long thought gone too.
Denda mona kakaketi ketidieno. Mukabula kinzambi ponso kondo lumungu.
Χάιτε σε λάδο στρατιάι, σε περιμένουσι μετά των ασπασμάτων.
ដោយការបញ្ចប់សេចក្តីទុក្ខវេទនាផ្លូវចិត្តគឺចាំបាច់ខ្លាំងណាស់ដូចគ្នានឹងការសម្រួលរាងកាយផងដែរ
いかがある我は日本国の武士道の信仰者北条時宗
Plus some music based on some folk songs for each Civ, which is all just beautifully composed. Overall, even without playing the PC version, I can't help but deny Civ 6 on consoles is flawed, but less so on the Switch, as like I said, I see more important info on the screen. In the end, you're probably better off with the PC version overall, but the Switch version fits like a glove too. But nevertheless, the game is still that addictive Civ experience we all know and love, and I can't hate it for that.